So let's just start again by focusing on our breath. And dropping into that inner space. And finding that place within where the psychopomps dwell. And we have met very many faces of these guides of souls, but now we're moving into connecting with those who are the ones that we would recognize as psychopomps, the ones who move us across transitions, across thresholds, from one realm to another. We start with the ones who do that with great energy. We were talking about velocity before. Well, those are the gatherers. These are the ones who are not afraid to travel far and wide. They're not afraid to seek out the souls who may have become lost along the path. They're not detached like some of the other psychopomps that we will meet in coming weeks. There's this engagement. There's this this interplay, a different type of weaving than perhaps we've been talking about. You know, this weaving of the masculine, the feminine, the heart, and the solar plexus. But this is the weaving of the seeker and the sought. It's interesting, actually. I hadn't really considered this before, but Harriet Lerner talks about, you know, the dance of intimacy. And there is certainly something of that perhaps with the gatherers, the seeker and the sought. Because there needs to be this connection between psychopomp and the soul, the guide and the soul. Without that connection, how might the sought even be found? So, oh, I haven't changed that picture. The gatherers. We start with, we just have a few of them here. We start with the Ankou. And the Ankou is particularly Breton, but does find a way in different reflections through what were the Celtic lands. I was going to say what would become, but no, it was after the fact. So very much this figure of folklore. There is some resonance with the Grim Reaper, but I think the Grim Reaper probably predates the Ankou. And the main difference between the two is that very much this sense of the seeker and the sought. The Ankou has a relationship with the souls who have crossed over, whereas the Grim Reaper is no, there isn't a personal relationship. The Grim Reaper shows up for everyone, but the Ankou is particularly someone from the community, the last person in a community to have died, is the one who becomes the Ankou for that year, of holding that transitional space, of being the one who's showing the way. Oh yes, I did this last year and you're doing this now, so I'm showing you, you know, the ropes of how to enter into the afterlife. And so there isn't perhaps that same sense of fear. I mean, you think about, you know, near-death experiences, the sense that it is, you know, the loved ones, the people that we know. I'm not afraid to cross over if my mom is going to be the one who's going to meet me, or my dad. And so the Ankou has that energy. So though there is an aspect of, you know, starkness and imposing, and the scythe or the lantern that the Ankou carries. The face is not unrecognizable. So there is this connection. So Freya comes from Norse tradition, the daughter of the sea god. Similar in some ways, perhaps, to Aphrodite, who's also born of the sea and is the goddess of love and beauty. And Freya has that as well. She has her abode, Volkvangar, which is in balance to Odin's residence at Valhalla. And there is this understanding where they're slain on the battlefield that it is Freya who gets first pick of who will come to her with to Volkvangar, which I think in the name itself is about the community. It's about the people. And so there is this sense of certainly of choice and the discernment, and that she is going to gather those individuals that she wants to be with her. So this is, again, very similar to the Ankou. The Grim Reaper is a medieval energy, medieval psychopomp. And certainly this sense of course we know, because we've met many of them, these guides that have come to us from thousands of years ago, but in the 12, 13, 1400s, or 13 certainly, there was the Black Death which swept across Europe, and huge numbers of dead. Millions died. Villages were completely depopulated. I've heard in places around here where entire villages were wiped out. And so the art of the time portrayed these a reflection of what was being experienced in life. That there were just these legions of skeletons, the legions of the dead. And so this image of a figure, a cloaked figure carrying a scythe, dates from this time. It was like the people were being mowed down, much like sheaves of wheat. And so there was this shift that happened. You can feel it even although Ankou perhaps a little bit later. The difference with the Grim Reaper is that he brings the death, not that he comes to guide you once death has happened. It's the one shift with the other psychopomps. And then we have Gwyn ap Nudd, who is particularly Welsh. Gwyn ap Nudd actually means there's an error in the book Psychopomps, but his name Gwyn is white, but ap Nudd means son of the mist. Nudd or Neil Newlog is misty in Welsh. And so it's not even quite so much that it's about, day and night or black and white, but clarity and obscurity, that he holds that space between the two. He's referenced in a book by in the Mabinogi or in the I think it's the one of the many stories that's attributed or connected with the Mabinogi, but not the four branches. It's Kuluk and Olwen, and there's a whole, again, so many of these myths and stories are about the impossible tasks that need to be done, and it is Kuluk who needs to do things if he is to win the hand of the maiden Olwen. And in this, he enlists the help of Gwyn ap Neath, who is a great assistance to him. And in other stories, you hear of him leading this wild hunt. He's also connected with Arthur and helping Arthur, and Arthur accompanying him on this wild hunt, which happens around October, and it's the time of, when that veil is thin, and with his Kun and Noon, his red-eared dogs, find the souls to take to Anun or Anuven, the other world, or the deep, or the unseen. And that his home, again, other stories that come up, and this could be his connection with Arthur, with Glastonbury, because Arthur was said by Glastonbury Abbey to have been buried there with Guinevere, but Gwyn ap Neath was said to have resided in the Tor, and that in the wild hunt he gathers all the souls and then brings them to the other world through the Tor. So though there is this velocity and almost ferocity of the hunt, it's that if you hear the clamor of the hunt, it turns your blood to ice. There is this guiding to a place which is a place of wonder. The other world is that which is so much like our world, but more so. And a completely different energy of gathering with Jesus. And Jesus also is shows up as a passage guide as well. A bit of a different energy there. But this is the sense of Jesus as the metaphor of the shepherd with the flock, and making sure that all are gathered and all are safe, and there is and serving as that, then leading to the divine. It's through Jesus that one is led to the gates of heaven, but keeping his flock safe in that journey. So a very different energy and land to Gwyn ap Neath. Another counterpoint to the Grim Reaper is Santa Muerte, who comes out of Mexican tradition, although it's thought there's a possibility of a connection to pre-Columbian beliefs. But Santa Muerte is very much anchored in 20th century. That is really the past 20-25 years that the cult of Santa Muerte has taken hold. And partly there is something about her approachability, that not that she's necessarily bringing death, but when death comes, she's Saint Death, that's the mother, and she has these other epitaphs which you know, like la madrina, the godmother, that speak to relationship. She's sometimes shown with these elements here, with the scythe, and not just the scythe like the Grim Reaper, but the hourglass and the scales, the balance, and the owl of wisdom. So she has this sense of heartfelt approachability. And then along with Freya, there are the Valkyrie. So similar energy to Freya. These are strong, beautiful, you know, sometimes terrifying women on horseback, gathering the slain from the battlefields. They're also associated. I love that there's a swan in this image, because they're sometimes associated with the swans, and she's even got one on her head. When they are not going over the battlefield to get the slain, then they are the handmaidens in Valhalla and Volk-Gangar. And that's where this swan energy comes. So again, this sense of being able to see with an eye of discernment of what final destination is going to be. And the last of our gatherers is Yama, who comes from Hindu cosmology. And Yama has a twin who is the river. Yama is the son of the sun deity Surya, and the goddess of the dawn. And so he is this child of the light, and his sister is the river that flows. And he is also said to be, similarly to Ankou, the first one to experience death. He was the first mortal. And as that, he's sort of that guide, that custodian of that experience himself. His noose is the noose of experience, and it gathers all that experience together, but it also gathers those who are moving into a place of death. So these are our 8 gatherers. So just take a moment to feel the energy, that whether they are chasing or choosing, or the ones who sort of allow the understanding of what it is that we are going through when we're going through these transitional times. The ways in which they reflect the clarity or help to bring aid to these transitions. If we are in times when we feel that we've lost our way, you know, it's not just a guide we're looking for something that is going to find us. Something that is going to, you know, we can hold the place where we are and know that the seeker will find us. So, choose a number between 1 and 8. I've just shuffled the cards here. I've got 8 gatherers here. Number 1, if you chose number 1, it is Yama right here. Number 2 is Santa Muerte down here. Number 3, Gwyn Apneath. It is Kunanu. Number 4 is Jesus. Number 5 are the Valkyries. Number 6 is the Ankou. Number 7 is Freya. And number 8 just leaves one, that is the Grim Reaper. So just bring your awareness once more back to your breath. Just take a moment to connect with the gatherer who has come to you. That may give a reflection on what it is that you need in times when you feel lost. It may also, though, reflect the way in which you have or can be in the world, the way that you are helpful to others who have lost their way, the light that you bring. It's interesting, I'm looking out my window and it's so dark I can't see a single thing except there's one light, I think, that is a lantern that my neighbor has lit in order to go out to the fields to get the cows, because it's just about milking time. But it's just nothing but black sky and one light. I'll see if I can take a picture afterwards. It's like seeking that which is lost. So let me stop the recording.